Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the PokerGO podcast. My name is Donnie Peters. His name is Tim Duckworth. It is 1 a.m. exactly on Thursday, June 12th, baby. Listen, this is one of those nights you live for when you love to cover poker. You love to be here at the World Series of Poker. Absolutely iconic night, historic night, incredible stuff. And guess what? I wasn't here for most of it. Bummed. Absolutely freaking bummed that I had to go handle duties elsewhere. But I did make it back for half of the history of the night. As you guys might have heard by now, we got Nick Schulman winning the 10K No Limit Deuce to 7 championship. We got Jason Koon winning the 50K High Roller. Truly incredible stuff there from both of those legendary players. Of course, we have other bracelets that were awarded, or at least one other bracelet that was awarded. Jason Duong won the $1,500 limit hold'em. Epic comeback for him in that one. And then a whole bunch of other events were running. 100K kicked off. 10K PL08 is playing day 2. Monster Stack underway, baby. Make sure you get the numbers on the Monster Stack stat guy. What else we got? We got 3K Freezeout. 3K Freezeout. Yep. We got, I don't know what else. H.O.R.S.E, 1,500 H.O.R.S.E, and
1,500 H.O.R.S.E.
Who the heck knows what else? But we'll get to all of it, of course. How you doing? You were here all night. How you doing?
Of course, I was here all night. I'm committed to the WSOP, unlike some people over here. I'm good. I'm a little tired. I've been tired the last few days. But it was pretty cool night to see these bracelets awarded, topping off from, the other night with John Racer winning while we were here late. A couple nights ago when Chino and Nick were having that pretty long stud championship battle. So some big names, some big moments, and it's kind of always cool to be, on the rail watching along and seeing how kind of history unfolds, as they say.
Definitely. If you're ready for real poker with zero fluff, Play Poker Go is where it's at. It's where all the action is, baby. Other than, of course, at the World Series of Poker. But, if you want to get your fix, Play Poker Go. No bots, no gimmicks, just real players like you and I, and, of course, like Tim, although questionable on the real player front.
Very questionable.
Jump into ring games, tournaments. They have sit and goes, and they are now themed no gamble, no future, and they have the Wheel of Gain. They are the jackpot sit and goes. You can go check those out as well. It is authentic poker. You can get it on web. You can get it on iOS. You can get it on Android. That's Play Poker Go. Sign up for free today. PlayPokerGo.com. Emphasis on free. Get in there. Get some free gold to start. That's what you play with in the game. You can spin a wheel to get more gold every couple of hours. You can open a new treasure chest every day. Your streak builds. You get your multiplier builds as you go. So, if you want to play some real authentic poker, and I do want to emphasize authentic as well, because the play is legit. Okay. It's not just an all-in fest. It's actually, some serious play. So you can get in there and actually sharpen your game and try and get a little bit better. So again, that is playpokergo.com. Sign up for free today. Nick Schulman, The Takeover.
The Takeover.
One of the absolute greatest to ever do it. Tops 233 entries to win $497,000. His 7th gold bracelet. 3rd time winning the 10K No Limit Deuce to 7 championship. I mean, this guy is just absolutely, positively one of the best ever. He has to be. Absolutely has to be. I listen, sure, maybe he doesn't have as many bracelets as Helmuth or Ivy, right? But Schulman is a legend. He's an icon. He's a GOAT. And he's still doing it. And he's going to continue to do it. I don't think this guy is slowing down anytime soon. He joins the extremely rarefied air of players at the World Series of Poker to win the same event 3 times. We also got Adam Friedman did it in the dealer's choice. We got some people that I'll put an asterisk next to, but who are they? Go ahead and tell me, who are they?
The legendary Johnny Moss and Stu Unger. Main event champs,
Stu
baby.
Unger's for sure counts. Johnny Moss is kind of questionable.
It counts. Did he get a bracelet? Yes or no? You answer me that question.
I mean,
No, he didn't.
He got
get one retroactively?
He got a cup or a glass or something.
Okay, first year it was technically an ice bucket.
No.
Supposedly, yes, it was an ice bucket.
See, we gotta get Maury on the pod to talk about this.
I
stuff.
don't even know this.
Yeah, if anyone would know, it would be Maury though.
No, it'd be Mr. Binion himself.
Yeah, okay.
And then it went to selling cup of silver plate back to a bracelet, but he was retroactively given a bracelet, so it has to count. You have to rub that asterisk out, buddy. Who else you got? You got any more?
You're the stat guy.
You're forgetting two goats, two legends. Someone that's won our favorite event 3 times. Mr. Brian Rass, PVC champion.
Yeah, true.
Grinder.
That's not my favorite event, by the way.
Should be. The Grinder, PPC champion as well. You said Adam Friedman, right?
Yeah, but wait, Grinder did 3 times? Yeah.
There's one more. Now this one you can put an asterisk on.
There's one more.
There's one more.
God, I what's this, like the tag team event from the 70s or something?
Well, back then it wasn't a tag team event. It was a mixed doubles.
Yeah, whatever.
Please get it right. Please get it right for the people. We're trying to educate these people at home. You're calling it the wrong event.
Okay, so listen. We have give me the list. Give me the list right now, but don't name this other person. Give me the list.
Johnny Moss, Duong.
Yep.
Adam Friedman.
Yep. Brian Rast,
Michael Mizrahi,
Grinder,
and obviously now Nick Schulman.
Okay, so there's one more.
Yeah.
What's the event?
That will give it away.
What's the event?
5-card stud.
I got no idea.
Bill Boyd.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Isn't this the one where they?
Yes,
yeah. This is for sure the asterisk one because Maury told us about this one.
But that's not why the asterisk. 1971, Bill Boyd won the $1,000 buy-in 5-card stud tournament. The next year, the buy-in changed. This is where the asterisk. The buy-in changed to $10,000. He won that one. Next year, 1973, still $10,000. He won that. That has an asterisk because why? Only had one player in it. That was Bill Boyd because he has the best 5-card sub player in the world. The next year, 1974, buy-in changed again down to $5K, way more entrants. He won that for $40K. So he won the same event 4 consecutive years, but the buy-in changed. So that's where I put the asterisk. Okay. I think it counts.
Okay.
But if you want to asterisk that, either way, 4 events in a row, you're not going to get any better than Billy Boyd. He's just a legend.
All right, let's bring this back. This train back on the tracks. I mean, I derailed it, so I'm not gonna get mad at anyone but myself. I derailed it.
I just fueled it up,
but we're feeling good. Tim, this is Tim and I's version of up tilt. When you get a night like this at the WSOP, we're up tilt. Like you're feeling pumped up. Like you're.
Is that the right word?
100% up tilt. What is wrong with you?
I've never ever heard that word.
Do you even work in poker?
I've never heard that.
Christ
up tilt.
Almighty. Yes.
Yeah, I've heard no, that's not. I've never heard that.
Yes. Trust me. Listen, the viewers and stuff and the people out there can message us if they think that I'm lying.
I'm not saying you're lying. I've just never heard of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Up tilt. Interesting.
Exactly. All right. So Schulman, third time winning this event. It was the record-setting tournament. Record setter for this tournament. 233 entries, $497,000. So it really is fitting that Schulman wins it. This really is the Nick Schulman signature event. If you were to list poker players and then next to it list like their signature event, Schulman would be 10K no limit, Deuces 7 championship, 100%.
Yes. Friedman, dealer's choice, Bill Boyd, 5-card stud. We got it. Yeah.
I knew I went off the rails for a reason. He also won it in 2012 for $294K. He won it in 2009 for $279,000. Now let's also not forget 2015 he came second.
Yeah.
So, he's an absolute crusher. I did a video the other day.
Can you add as well? So 2011 he finished 5th.
There you go.
So very impressive.
I did a video the other day when they got into the money in this event, because when they got into the money, Schulman cashed for enough. The min cash was 20,000 and change. He cashed for enough to move to the top of the WSOP all-time money list for this game, no limit deuce to 7, according to hendonmob.com. So there was that little accolade, little achievement that he unlocked, and then he just goes on and wins the damn thing. I mean, just simply incredible stuff. He did have to endure, and trust me, it was a freaking endurance match. 8-hour heads-up match with Darren Elias. These guys, I got here. I don't know what time I got here today. 2 o'clock?
Yeah.
They were 3-handed. It was Nick, it was Darren Elias, and it was Chad Eastledge. Chad Eastledge busts around 2:30 or 3, something like that. I have to go do commentary Venetian. I go over there. I come back they're still playing heads up. Nick and Darren. I mean, just absolutely incredible stuff. And I've been around the WSOP. I've been in the studio. Like, I've seen Nick win plenty of things now, and I've never really seen him act as he did afterwards. You know, you could just tell that it was like a big release, like an adrenaline dump. Like, he kind of had his hands on his head and was kind of walking around just like I'm free in a way. Like,
Yeah.
it was very weird. You know, I can't imagine being in that intense of a match. And Darren he's an incredible poker player. He is extremely proficient in this game, which I think might be overlooked by many people out there. Nick gave him plenty of credit. I think last night on the broadcast, when I did that alongside Jared Blesnick and Joe Stapleton, Blesnick gave a lot of credit to Darren Elias as well. Darren Elias, I thought, played exceptionally well. And he obviously has a ton of results that we'll talk about in a little bit in this format. You know, so just having to go heads up. Plus, you know, Darren he's one of those guys who's searching for a bracelet still. You know, he's won so much stuff, but he still has yet to claim a WSOP bracelet. So I think that when Darren gets to heads up, like he locks in to another level, which means that if you're Nick, you need to lock in to at least match that, if not, you know, exceed it. So I think a lot was taken out of these two in this heads up match, and you know, ultimately Nick came out on top. And then afterwards, as if this guy wasn't tired enough and beaten down and all that sort of stuff from everything that happened today, he was kind enough to spend a few minutes with me through an interview. So let's go to that interview with Nick right now.
I would say both emotionally and professionally, this one really does kind of mean the most to me. I've said it to everybody asking me, but to play Darren heads up for 6 hours, that was the first time I was really at peace with the result, no matter what, which is a pretty kind of freeing feeling. You know, you can learn from that, but he's just such a great player and never gives an inch. So I just feel lucky and thankful. I mean, if you keep showing up, stuff like this happens, but yeah, and I love single draw, so to win it 3 times and all of this stuff, it does mean a lot to me, and I'm very happy. You know, just everybody says it's the kind of OG, like, you know, everyone says that, and I love how it's got a little buzz about it, and you need players to just win it a few times for some reason to just kind of inspire, not like I'm out here inspiring people making low poker hands, but like, you know, in any sport, like if somebody goes off and does something like, so for a long time, I felt like in poker, single draw, just, that's my shit, you know, like I've played with everybody. I played with Doyle. I played Johnny Chan 3-handed once for a week. It was wild with this other guy. It was a crazy experience. I basically moved to LA to play single draw. You know, it didn't just happen by accident. I mean, really, it's just the reps and caring about the game and things like that. But yeah. So I'm really overwhelmed. You know, I mean, this guy's not looking for anybody to feel sorry for him and stuff, but I was emotional playing Darren. Like, I feel like we just became best friends, kind of like, you know, it's just something like that is crazy, you know, like, and it wasn't just that, it was all day yesterday and or today even, this was a wild tournament. I mean, it was really one of the best structures ever that I recall. You know, it went to 90-minute levels, and yeah, I was overwhelmed. I got a little misty. You know, it hit me hard. It was just when I had my daughter, who, you know, it's not that cash may even be a smarter way to go, but it was just, I just started liking to just wake up in the morning and go to sleep at night and kind of hang out with the family and just know when I'm playing and when I'm not playing. And you know, I might return one day to cash, but I just decided to sort of go all out in tournaments, at least here in Vegas. I felt like there was enough stuff I could play, and I really enjoy them, you know. And I also kind of refound a love for No Limit. So that was, you know, yeah. I'd be lying if I didn't say that it's basically my primary source of income, and you know, I've made a few mistakes over the years, so I'm not just retired, so to speak, and I want to build and you know, do it right this time. So that's a big part of what keeps me coming. However, even if I didn't have to play, I would play. I just, you know, poker makes me better. It just, if you're not right with yourself and you know, you don't find some humbleness and stuff like that, you know, this game, it really will mess you up bad, you know, and I don't wish that on anybody, but for me, I get it. You know, I can come in, I can lose, I can get my heart broken. It's okay, you know, I just try my best and let God handle the rest, and I really do believe that. So that's just, you know, it's a profound thing. You get to a point where all these guys, you know, I'm wishing all these guys, I love seeing people do, you know, tremendous things and stuff, and like, I don't know what to say, but it does mean something to me. I don't want it to define me. I don't want it to, because these things are fleeting in a sense, like there's more to, you know, but I'm proud, and, you know, big shout out to my mom. Love you. Miss you.
So there was Nick Schulman. I mean, you could hear it from him, right? Yeah. It definitely means a lot to him. He touched a bit on his legacy. He talked, you know, kind of briefly about, you know, past mistakes that he had made and how he kind of wants to right things. A big turning point in his life was having his daughter. Again, he spoke very highly of Darren. You know, he talked about how this event really caters to him and like what it means to him and what it means to have success in this specific event. So yeah, you know, just great stuff all around from Nick Schulman. He's, you know, one of the coolest cats in poker for sure. And it's good to hear him, you know, open up like that in the wake of a win. Now, my question for you, sir: where does Nick Schulman rank all time in poker?
All time?
Yeah, all time. I mean, I'm asking it because I have an agenda here. I believe that he is among one of the absolute best all time, like shortlist best, like top 5 all time, top 6, like guaranteed for sure top 10. I think. You know, so where does he rank for you? Like so a lot of people say like, okay, well, where does somebody rank all time? And then they'll just be like, well, this guy has this many bracelets, this guy has this many bracelets. They'll just run down the list, right? Mm-hmm. Or they'll go, okay, this is the all-time money list. This guy has this, like, you know, and Nick isn't at the top of those lists. Yeah. Okay, right? But that doesn't mean that he's not one of the greatest of all time. People often talk about Chip Reese.
Yeah.
Now, he's nowhere near the top of tournament leaderboard lists, right? But if you ask anyone, he's arguably, if not the greatest poker player of all time, right? So that's kind of what I'm getting at here. You know, where does Nick rank all time? I would say he's surefire like top 10 for me. And this, you know, I would have probably said that before this, he's up there. And this, I think, only like really solidifies that.
He's definitely not top 5. You know, we can rule that out.
Wow, just right away.
Yeah.
Just right away.
Look, let's be honest. If we're trying to factor everything in with what is poker, not just talking results, Helmuth, Doyle, Negreanu, Ivy. Maybe it could be 5. He's definitely top 10. It's more of a question of, you know, where do we rank Schulman versus Eric Seidel? Where do we rank Schulman versus, you know, we've got to wind the clock way back to with Johnny Moss. You know, where does John Hennigan stand in there? Scott Seaver, Johnny Chan, some of these names. Definitely top 10.
And some of those names, by the way, now that Nick has 7 bracelets, Seaver, John Hennigan, Negreanu, you know, Billy Baxter, you know, they all have 7.
Yeah.
Right. So Nick is right there with them.
I'm going to read. You just said he won his 7th bracelet. He is tied for 5th fastest to 7 bracelets.
Okay.
So if we are talking about, you know, the longevity of and the legacy, you know, we have Moss, Ivy, Helmuth, Seidel, and Schulman's tie with Doyle was at 16 years to get his 7th bracelet. Side note, side fact on Doyle, it was 13 years between 6 and 7. So he won 6 bracelets in 3 years, then took 13 years off. Didn't want to play tournaments, was winning millions of dollars in cash games. But either way, so just taking that stat,
which is, and you heard Nick talk about it, I asked him about, he used to play a lot of cash games. And I believe he even told our colleague Remco, several years ago when it was over at the Rio that, oftentimes just the cash games are too good. The money is too big. Like he'll skip tournaments for it. Now, as you heard him in the interview, he has transitioned essentially fully to tournaments.
Perfect. So he's right on the cusp of breaking into that top 5. Is there a world where he is regarded as in poker's Mount Rushmore? It's always going to be hard to knock off both Phils and Daniel. It's that 4th spot that I think the modern generation of poker fans and poker media could see him, pushing out a Doyle, pushing out an Eric Seidel, or whoever they may have in 4th. So he's making a case. And as you said, the biggest thing about him, plays all the games, has bracelets in all the games, right? Like it's not like he's a one-trick pony, or he can only win in mix or can only win in no limit. He's got the no limit bracelet last year. He's got the deuce bracelets. He's got the stud bracelet. Plays everything. Plays all the buy-ins too. He plays from 1,500 all the way up to, sometimes 100K, 50Ks and all that. So one of the most well-rounded players in WSOP history, and he is forging a legacy that is going to be hard to be matched by anyone.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I wanted to bring this up is I kind of got started thinking, and I don't know what exactly it was. I know Nick is a big boxing guy.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy boxing as well, probably way more than I should, because every time I watch a fight, I want to rip my freaking teeth out because of what just happened or how they judged it or whatever. And I was trying to think pound for pound rankings, right? Because it's often hard. It's hard in boxing because you have all these different weight classes, right? And my drawing to that is that you have all these different variants in poker, right? Like when people say who's the greatest poker player of all time, and then you throw out a name I don't know, let's just say Fedor Holtz, because he had that crazy run once. And I remember at the time I was like, well, he's the greatest no limit hold'em tournament player right now.
Yeah.
And maybe he goes on to be that ever. Yes. But when you say poker player, I think everything, you got to be able to do it all. So that's where I come back to then boxing, saying, pound for pound, when you're able to stack everyone up against each other. You can take someone who's already won 2 bracelets this year, Benny Glauser, right? I mean, he's known as a mixed game specialist, but you can still somehow put him in the conversation for different things, right? So it's hard to take kind of a one-trick pony, but Nick is not. He does everything, So I ended up landing on Bernard Hopkins was my pick. I mean, I kind of thought that Bernard Hopkins called the Executioner, Nick was called the Takeover. So they're just a cool nickname. It doesn't, They don't really draw to each other at all. They're cerebral, surgical, age like fine wine. I think Nick is this, the aging like fine wine to me, when it comes to poker, is you just get better and better as time goes on, and you're able to stick with the modern game. But also, you have to be able to take it to the streets at some point, which, again, in the interview, you heard Nick kind of hint at that. Like this game specifically, you kind of got to be able to just get in there and throw some punches.
Yeah.
There's the super technical modern game, right? But at least as it pertains to this game that many people refer to, many of the greats refer to as the purest form, if not one of the purest forms of poker. You just got to be able to get in there, bare knuckle, and just go at it with people, right? Look your guy in the face, and that's it. There's 2 streets of betting. There's pre-draw, there's post-draw. You got to really feel it out. You heard Blesnik talk a lot about this last night in the broadcast. So, I just think when it comes to the aging like fine wine, again, you see so many people in poker that come and go. They're a flash in the pan. Now, maybe that flash is a little bit longer than, a couple seconds. It's a year long or it's 2 years long, but they kind of come in, they pop in, they have their run, and then you kind of don't hear from them anymore in terms of winning big things or whatever. Nick is also a technician in every game, which you pointed to. He's done it all over the place, right? And he continues to do it. We see that, every single series on the PGT. It doesn't matter what it is, Nick's in the studio blasting.
Yeah.
Here at the series, it doesn't matter what it is, Nick's in the tournament blasting. It can be a 100K high roller. It can be a 3K horse tournament. It can be a $1,500 7-card stud. Like he's all over the place, but he's so well versed and good at everything. And again, there's like that old school intensity, which I think also makes Nick like so cool to people. He's like he's old school. He's like old Vegas. You can tell by like the kind of the clothes he wears and whatnot. Like you can feel it when he's locked in. He doesn't need to say much, but then when he does speak, it's just incredible. He's like his own brand in a way.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, I also think that again, he understands the game now. He talked about a bit about that maturity thing in the interview, and I think that he understands the game more now than he ever did, and he's also kept himself up with studying and getting better. I think you see a lot of players who they kind of just get complacent with where they are, and they get so they like win a bunch because they're obviously very good and they probably studied some, but then they might not try and push to that next level. So there's that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's where I'm at with him. He's poker's Bernard Hopkins is where I'm at. Authentic. Poker is his craft. The way he carries himself, all that sort of stuff. He commands the table in any format. So yeah, no gimmicks. He's just a guy. He's freaking dead serious, and he's just like the realest one in the game. So I think that in and of itself is worthy of being considered one of the best, I'll say pound for pound poker players. And I would rank him near the top. So, okay, top 10 for me, like all time. All of those names that you said, I agree with. But, for me, I think Schulman is certainly up there.
I think it's always going to be very individualized, right? Like how you perceive someone, or what do you classify as part of your, key factors in deciding this. I think a lot of that stuff for you and me, I think at our ages is all about ambassadorship. And I think that's where like Negreanu Helmuth gets some bonus points. In my mind, I think that's where some people that might not be in the top 10 get a few more points. Like to me, like a Mattisau gains a little bit more because of what he did when we were kind of growing up in this industry and watching it on ESPN and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's always like any sport list. It's when you're ranking either favorites or who you think best. You're always going to have your own thoughts or overvalue certain categories, right? And I think you kind of nailed some of those ones with Schulman.
So Schulman tops Darren Elias in heads-up play. Now, Darren Elias is another one I want to spend a couple minutes on here. Second in this event this year to Schulman for $336,000. Now, Darren, he's like, first of all, you have to just hang your head high when you lose to Schulman, who's arguably the greatest player in this game. So how can you feel upset about it? Now, of course, it sucks to lose in second. It sucks to lose in any place in a tournament other than first place, right? It's one of those things. I was talking with Tristan Wade the other day about this sort of stuff, and if you were to tell me before a tournament, I'm going to get second place or I'm going to get seventh, make the final table,
yeah,
I would, and I could sign for that right now before the tournament even started. Snap sign.
Of course,
no one would ever not sign.
Exactly.
But then you get that far, and the only thing you want is to win. And it doesn't matter where you end up because the only thing that matters is first place. So it's just such an effed up game, tournament poker. It really is. It just really messes with your mind. And in order to keep doing it and keep persevering and coming to play every single day, and a lot of times just getting your teeth kicked in, like there's a lot to be said about that. Now, Darren Elias has had this second place this year. He had a third in 2019 in this event. This is just this event. A third in 2017 and a ninth in 2014. I know Darren Elias is known as the end boss of, like big field, no limit hold'em tournaments, also some high rollers as well. But this game, no limit deuce, he's incredible at.
Yeah.
And I thought it would have been like tremendously fitting if he were to win his first bracelet in this variant. I think a lot of people would have thought, okay, like he'll just win some no limit hold'em bracelet sometime, someday. Like that'll probably come. But he performs so well in this tournament. He's been close so many times. And this one, again, I mean, just he's right there. And at times he has the chip lead heads up and he just, for whatever reason, maybe he just ran bad. whatever it is, he just can't come out on top. So he also had, as it pertains to WSOP stuff, because, Darren Elias is still searching for a World Series of Poker Gold bracelet, a third in the 25K High Roller in 2023, hit a fourth in 3K 6 Max in 2022. How, like when you think of Darren Elias, and I know a lot of us think of Darren Elias and we say, okay, he's the WPT GOAT. Like, do you think having a bracelet or not having a bracelet affects his legacy in any sort of way? Like, are people looking at him and be like, yeah, but he couldn't do it there? The old saying, shout out producer Rich Ryan, do it on a cold night in Stoke. Just continue.
You know what? It's probably a good question to ask him because, he's such a measured.
Like, how does he feel?
I reckon he does. I'm going to guess that even though through that, that stoic demeanor that he, portrays at the table, that there's a little bit of a burn inside that I've gone so close so many times, and this is the one notch that I don't have. I have the WPT titles, I have the high roller titles, I have PGT titles. I just don't have the WSOP bracelet. And, kind of similar to Brian Altman, who is like a crusher on the WPT as well. He won a WSOP bracelet, I think it was either last year or the year before. It was online, but he still won one. He got that monkey off his back. He was always regarded as one of the WPT GOATs, along with Darren. And I think Darren wants to kind of break through and have a WSOP bracelet along with all his other accomplishments to we talk about Nick being well-rounded. I think that goes the same for Darren in terms of accomplishments. And, he doesn't play a lot anymore. Does play WPTs, does come for some of our series and obviously the World Series, but he's not out there traveling the world anymore. He's got some kids at home, loves to hit a golf club around the golf courses back east. So, yeah, I think if we asked him, he'd say, yeah, it's something I really, really, really want. And I'm sure, it's going to come eventually.
Yeah, I mean, it's at least I feel, I think you feel there with what you just said, that it really is a matter of time for Darren Elias. Again, I would have thought that it would have been very fitting for him to win this tournament because I think that it's one he holds, very highly.
Mm-hmm.
And he would have loved to win it. And then, had he beaten Nick Schulman too, that's just icing on the cake to do it. But again, just got to hold your head high because, second place, a super, super tough field. Final table was freaking stacked. You got to go heads up with the greatest to ever do it in this game. You ultimately come out in second. So nothing to be ashamed of there. But eventually Darren's going to get one, right? And I'll say that it's either going to be in the 10K no limit deuce. He's either going to win that or he's going to win one of the high rollers. Maybe not the highest high roller, maybe not the 250K, but a 25K, 10K 6 Max, something like that, right? That's right in Darren's wheelhouse. So
I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going to go and say he wins
the 1500 shootout.
No, the 400 no limit hold'em on WSOP Online.
No, I don't even know if he would bother to play that anymore.
Why not?
I just don't know if he would. I mean, I don't know, maybe, but I don't see him doing it. So yeah, I know he had that. What was it? A $500 bracelet event online that he had a final table. I think he took 5th or something like that. I just don't see Darren Elias grinding online anymore.
Well, I mean, while he's here, it would make a bit of sense.
No, I don't when he's here. I think he's he's in it out there. He's not grinding online. Now maybe I would say that if he does win let's say he wins an online bracelet.
Yeah,
I would say it's more likely to come at home in New Jersey than here. He's just home during some online bracelet series and he just, fires it in. So anyway, Jason Koon, 50K high roller champion. He told us the other day he was going to win the 250K super high roller. So that one's still out there for the taking for now. But in the meantime, he had to go and win the 50K high roller, almost $2 million for first place in this one, $1,968,000 for Koon, top day field of 171 entries. He beat Andrew Lucky Chewy Lichtenberger in a heads up play, who he's good friends with. And he is, he said in the post-win interview with Jeff Platt that he's gone back 15-something years with Andrew Lucky Chewy Lichtenberger. And then his best friend, Ben Tollering, finished in 3rd place.
Yeah.
So that was very cool. I know that you talked with him afterwards and you asked him about playing with your friends and how is that sort of thing? Because, once you get onto the table and you're playing for this much money, it's ultimately war, but these are also your very close friends and a whole bunch of other stuff that you hit on with him. So let's go to that interview right now, and then we'll come on back and we'll continue.
Here with Jason Koon, two-time WSOP bracelet winner. You won your first in 2021 Heads-Up Championship, and now this incredibly tough event. How important is it building upon your own personal WSOP legacy?
Every time I win a tournament, especially since I only play really big ones anymore, it just feels kind of like a dream. I'm like, wow, I still get to win these sometimes. This is really hard and incredible. You look around at the table and it's just legend after legend, and the fact that I get to come in with only 30% of the chips and win the whole thing, it doesn't happen very often.
You've accomplished so much in poker. What keeps you motivated to come here, battle, and take down tournament after tournament?
I really like to compete. I like to test myself. If I have a slow couple of months, I start to feel this itch of I need to be tested at something. And poker is a great proving grounds for me because it's something that I'm very good at and that I've put my entire life into for 2 decades. So it's just something that's it fills something inside of me. That's the whole reason I do it.
Playing these high stakes tournaments, the player pools are kind of small, and you've made some great friends in here. Obviously, Ben Tollerine, third place finisher, and even Lucky Chewy, you're close with.
Yeah.
When you're playing for these high stakes, how hard is it to separate the friendship from pure competition?
It used to be a lot harder for me whenever I had my ego wrapped up in the game, but once I separated worrying about the way that other people looked at me, and I just let all my friends know, hey, love you, but let's just. Poker is poker. Let's compete the best that we can, and that way we respect each other the most. And once I split the ego from the game, it's freeing, and we all just go at it. And that's why you see us play so hard against one another. Like I said at Triton when Ben and I got heads up in that tournament, it's some of the most violent poker I've ever played in my life has been against Ben. It's just absolutely violent. We're just battling one another, and wouldn't have it any other way.
You talked about playing less, kids at home, family, and just kind of hand-picking the events you play.
Yeah.
Is there a special satisfaction when you can actually win one of these ones that you've kind of picked out for your schedule?
Oh yeah, I mean, like I was saying, this thing had 177 runners. I was in for 1 bullet. To get to be here and win the thing, you don't get to do that every year. You play 8 tournaments at the World Series. You don't just get to show up and win one. So it's really incredible, and I still don't really know how it's even possible. You just kind of sit down and you do the thing, and you do what you know to do, and sometimes you look up and you're holding a bracelet.
The other day we were walking the field, me and Donnie Peters, and we saw you and you said, I'm going to win this 250K. I don't know if it's this year, but it's going to happen.
Yes.
You just won the 50K.
Yeah.
Is the 250 still that white whale, still that thing you're chasing?
Yes. Yeah, the 250K is my main event. I'm going to win it. I don't know if it'll be this year, but I'm going to win that tournament.
You've won, we've mentioned how much you've won, 12 Triton titles, now 2 bracelets, PGT titles. When the dust settles on your career, what do you want your legacy to be defined as?
Well, that I was honest and hardworking, and I think a lot of the people that saw me from the beginning, how raw I was, I think that I've grown exponentially as a person and as a player, and I think that my career could be a testament to persistence and showing up and working your ass off and being honest with yourself and just iterating day in and day out. What can I do to be better? What can I do to be better? And look back 20 years later and you did some stuff.
All right, that was Jason Koon. You obviously know Jason pretty well. I know Jason pretty well. What kind of stood out to you talking to him after that win?
I think it's when I always talk to Jason Koon, I always find he's just so measured in his responses, so calm. He did a round of interviews up on the stage under the bright lights, got moved down to where we were sitting with WSOP, then did with us. He answers so perfectly everything. I don't get how these guys can do that sometimes. You've just that.
Well, let me just say that the large majority of them do not.
Yeah, well, maybe it's.
look,
maybe it's who we decide to talk to, and we just pick right. But you just know that these guys are going to give you the good answers, and provide all the stuff you need. And like you touched on it, I think it's interesting that, he is dialing down his poker a little bit. He does obviously still play try-ins. He plays the bigger stuff. But yeah, he's handpicking his events. And obviously, played the one of the maybe, 8 events he might play this summer. He ripped off that second bracelet. And yeah, but he still has that big golden carrot weight that he wants to chase down, which is the 250K super high roller.
And listen, once we know how important confidence and momentum are in poker. So now that, because he mentioned in his interview, how at times he'll go a long period of time without really having results and he'll kind of get on himself. But now it's early in the series. He's already had this success to the best degree in terms of winning this high roller super stacked field. So does he have the momentum? Does he have the extra confidence now to go into that 250K and just, ravage the thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he'll start with the 100K, I'm assuming, tomorrow. He'll hop in there.
I did ask him after the interview, like 100K tomorrow or tonight? And he goes, tomorrow. We'll definitely be in that one tomorrow. So I don't know. Sometimes I get this like very robotic vibe from Jason Koon in a way that nothing affects him. Win or loss. And I think that I don't think the confidence changes. I think it's always high for him.
Well, I think it goes both ways with him in terms of the like being a robot and being a human.
Yeah.
Because I think on the felt, he just can turn it on. I mean, he's always been an athlete, and he's been a very good athlete. He did a lot of track, a lot of sprinting. And I think when you are a very good athlete, you have to be dialed and you have to just be able to like flip that switch and like lock in.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you see when you see him compete in these high rollers. Okay. But then off the felt, right? He's like, let's go get a Starbucks, right? He's like a normal dude. Like, but he has that gear where he can just turn it on, when the lights are the brightest, when it means the most.
I've seen him bust, 2 bullets in our main event over at the PokerGO studio very quickly. And all he does is just goes, okay, guess it wasn't my day. Everyone, see you later. See you next series. Have fun.
Well, I'll tell you,
it's just so like,
I'm pretty sure he did not used to always be like that, because I've seen him kind of, I mean, not that he's like going crazy, but like, visibly frustrated at times back in the day. But even in the interview with you, he hit on like how he's matured through it all.
Yeah.
He's basically like I'm at peace in a lot of ways with things. So, and I likened Nick Schulman to Bernard Hopkins. I'm going to do another one.
Okay.
Another
boxer, or can we go to a sport I understand a bit more?
It's not another boxer, but it's close. It's
UFC. Fighter? Oh, I don't know UFC either. I'm going to start dropping AFL and cricket people and throwing
That's fine.
You're not going to know any of those
I don't need to understand it. As long as someone out there understands it, then it works. Okay. I'm going with GSP. Do you know who that is?
He's the French Canadian.
George St. Pierre.
Okay, yeah.
Hyper disciplined, physically gifted. Not that necessarily matters a whole ton in poker, but it probably matters when you're physically like up to speed with everything. It helps you mentally. It helps you emotionally. GSP was always obsessed with optimal performance, which I think Jason Koon is. We know that he's obsessed.
Yeah.
We know.
Yes.
And I think he hit on it a bit in the interview. And I think people Jason Koon is effing obsessed. Okay. Like he's obsessed. He doesn't play a lot these days, but you better believe he is constantly studying and working to get better. The guy is freaking obsessed. And GSP was like, he was obsessed. He studied every single edge from diet to mindset to movement, to different styles, all that sort of stuff. And I think Jason Koon probably approaches poker similarly to how GSP approached fighting, in MMA. So that's what I do. And at the end of the day, GSP seems like a kind of he seems like he has that switch. I mean, I know he has that switch. I've watched plenty of UFC. You can tell he has that switch. When he gets in the ring, he's a total effing killer. Or in the octagon, total killer. When Koon gets on the table, total killer. But when he's off of it, nice, normal guy. So it's that brains, it's that precision, it's that physical specimen. Again, not that necessarily means all that much in poker, but it is. If you're sitting at a table with Koon, it must feel imposing when he's sitting there, broad shoulders, fucking chiseled jawline, just like staring you down, like, raising you, four-betting you, like whatever, right? I mean, how did Brock Wilson feel today when Koon pushed him off that chop? Like, you know what I mean? It's like this effing guy, like the freaking Iceman over here. It's just ridiculous. So Koon is the tactician, and that's why I'm going to compare him to GSP. So we got Schulman's the Bernard Hopkins. We got Koon is the GSP. We should do this for every person. Who's
but like I don't know this sport. These
yeah, but
sports.
you can have your own. You can have your own.
Make it basketball?
Here, Jason Duong, the $1,500 limit hold'em player. Who's he?
I don't know.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Is Jason Koon the best high roller of all time? Like, just when I say that, think of somebody who like only focuses on high rollers, because we know Koon. You know, we've joked about it many times. He's not getting out of bed for anything lower than a 25K. And at this point in his career, it might be anything lower than a 50K.
There's only about 4 names that can really be up for debate in this category. And I think,
you got?
Well, you mentioned H.O.R.S.E. You know, you have to consider him. He doesn't play that much anymore, but you know, at one time couldn't lose.
Well, that's got to be part of the question, in that, you know, similarly to Schulman, and it's also kind of coincidental that Schulman and Koon are good friends.
Yeah.
But Koon is still doing it. Like, you have to still do it, right? Like, you can say Dan Coleman, for example, came in, lit the world on fire in some of the biggest buy-ins around the tournament circuit, but where is he now? So can you really put him in like all time?
But I think
one sec. Well, someone like that, you would say had an all-time run, right? So continue.
No, yeah, I agree. You know, he doesn't play that much more anymore, but he did focus solely on the high rollers. Another person, you know, you have to mention is Bryn Kenny, is on top of the all-time money list.
For whatever reason, maybe it's the whole shaman frog poison crap. Who knows? But like, I feel like Bryn Kenny just doesn't get his respect. Now, I don't care if you respect someone or don't respect someone as a person and what they do and all that sort of stuff. I'm just talking about his results on the field. And Bryn Kenny freaking performs. When there is a massive buy-in tournament, Bryn Kenny is always just like one of the favorites, for sure. And he's going to perform.
Mm-hmm. He might just be uber high rollers only, it feels sometimes.
Yeah, like 250K and higher. Although he did play this 50K.
He did. 2 more names. One we haven't really seen at all this World Series, Justin Bonomo. Used to be high roller only. Isaac Haxon is another one. But going back to your question, without doubt, Jason Koon is number 1 when it comes to high rollers, mainly because the consistency over the years. He still is playing everything as high as he can go. You know, he plays down, we say down to 25Ks.
Yeah, down.
Right?
For him, down.
and, you know, even off the felt, you know, as we kind of touched on, the interviews, you know, the way he kind of interacts with players, fans, you know, peers, people he doesn't know. He's just a world-class individual, and while also being a world-class poker player and a crusher at high stakes. So, number 1 by a landslide.
I think I would agree with you. The only reason why I say I think is because I think if you asked Koon, he might say his best friend Ben Tollering, because I think all these guys hold Ben Tollering so high. But I agree that I think Koon is the best high roller of all time, and will continue to do it.
Yeah. I mean, Ben's obviously a crusher. He's won a bunch of our events last year.
One of the reasons why I said Ben is because PLO too, like included.
Yeah. Right. But I mean, Koon plays some of the big PLO stuff as well.
I know.
Seth's jumping into that as well. But, you know, those other guys just don't have that resume that, you know, Jason does. 12 Trident titles, 2 WSOP bracelets.
PGT champion.
PGT championship winner. Yeah. So, you know, Ben and Seth may be better, but they just don't have those accomplishments that Jason has amassed over the last, you know, 10 years while he's been in the game.
Is he going to get that white whale, the 250K, this year?
This year.
How many people played it last year?
70 something.
Didn't Santosh win it?
Yeah, 70 something.
Yeah, I mean,
I would say he will get it.
If there's an odds board for that tournament,
Santosh is number 1.
Shout out to Jesse Lonis being whatever the hell he was, 16-1 to
16-1
something ridiculous. Koon's got to be number 1, right? I mean, right? Like the odds on favorite. I mean, he has to be the favorite. He's for sure in the top 3.
Well, are you talking this from the sportsbook perspective, or are you talking this from the?
I'm saying if we were
real odds.
I'm saying if we were to set the odds, like I would have him probably number 1, if not top 3.
Yeah,
I mean top 3 for sure, but likely number 1.
Yeah,
and especially now, you know, because this is like, You win a couple games. You're going into the big game. So he's got that momentum again. He's got that confidence with him.
No, definitely I agree with that. Yeah, look, if it's going to have 70 to 80 player fields for a few more years, who knows for how long, I would say, yeah, he might be able to get it. But winning poker tournaments is not easy.
No,
especially that one.
Easy.
So he could go the rest of his career without winning it, and that's not a knock against anything.
Yeah, but he also feels
do.
like a type of guy where, and this is like kind of silly, but I kind of also do believe in this sort of stuff where he really believes it, and he's going to do everything in his power to make it happen.
Yep.
And I just feel like that sort of self-belief, self-will, uber confidence is going to propel him to get it done. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be this year, but I think it could very well happen in the next 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm at with him winning the $250K Super High Roller. But congrats to Jason Koon, $1.968 million for winning the $50K High Roller. Jason Duong won the $1,500 limit hold'em. According to Poker News, he was down to 2 big bets in heads-up play, but ultimately stormed on back. Listen, when you're down but not out, the whole chip in a chair thing, I know everyone jokes about it. It is legit. We have seen people time and time again. We just saw it the other day. Chino Riem and Nick Wagenti. I mean, Nick, I don't think it was down to 2 big bets, but he was down to 6.
Yeah.
And Chino had a pile over there, and Chino was running his mouth. I mean, in a friendly way, running his mouth, talking crap, like having fun, all that sort of stuff. No. Nick stood strong and fought all the way back and won. Here, Jason Duong fights all the way back and wins his first gold bracelet, $130,000 as well. He topped a field of 491 entries. Adam Tyberski finished in second. Lawrence Robinson third in this one. $86,000 for Adam Tyberski. Lawrence Robinson, $59K. We talked about it yesterday, but again, Chris Hunikin finished in 8th place, had no idea he played Limit Hold'em, had no idea he would ever be in a $1,500 buy-in tournament, period. Mm-hmm. So that was a surprise. And then Ian Johns finished in 9th place there. The $3,000 No Limit Hold'em Freezeout, they are down to 8 players? Yeah.
8 players, yeah.
Who do we got? Anyone?
Renat Bodanov is the chip leader.
Bracelet winner.
Boris Kolev, he is in there. And
we drafted the wrong Boris.
We did.
Every time I go to the app and I look up the names, I look up Boris and I see Boris Kolev. And I'm like, God damn it, we drafted the wrong Boris. And I honestly had Boris in some of my research. And we picked Boris Angelov.
It's the wrong one. 8 players.
But we got to blame Jonathan Tamayo for the Boris Angelov pick.
So. They're coming back tomorrow, chasing $451,000 for first. It's a nice little payday for one of these 8 players.
Sitting in 4th, Anatoly Nikitin. He cashed the 50K or the 25K? One of those. He just cashed like the other day. So he clearly hopped straight into this event. And then, or maybe
cashed the 13th in the 25K for $90,000.
There you go. I remember seeing him around there quite a bit. $10,000 PLO high-low 8 or better championship. That's a mouthful. How about just PLO 8? That works.
That's better.
Where are we at there?
27 players left from 386 entrants. A whopping $763,000 first prize. They're all in the money.
Is this a record? How big is this field? I shouldn't say is it a record. I should say, how does this field compare to?
I don't think it would be.
Big.
It feels big, but I don't think it's that big. Lots of legends still in Kwanzaa chip leader. Second in chips, Chris Fitch, Sean Deeb. 5th in chips, John Schulman, Eric Wasserson, Phil Sternheimer,
Johnny Schorman.
Alan
Let's go, baby.
Brian
we
Rass.
Need a chant. I need producer Rich. I need to make one of those soccer
God
songs,
Save the Queen
chants. No, but it's got to be. Rich is really good at this, right?
He is good at
and he make it for
Johnny
Schorman.
Okay, yeah.
Right? We need it, Rich. We absolutely need it, okay?
Alan Kessler, Brian Rass, Andy McLeod, Ronald Kaiser, Matt Wenger, and Ben Yu, straight from the deuce, straight into this after busing today. He's sitting 19th in chips. This name, I'm not so sure on, and I wish I saw it earlier. Yevgeny Timoshenko.
Okay, I saw this in the app today. Okay, and I was like, oh, clearly somebody changed their name to Yevgeny Timoshenko. Another person that I saw, I think it was this tournament. They were at the top of the chip counts earlier. It said retracted. Like
That's still in. That guy's still in.
So, but is that actually retracted, or did they just change their name?
I think
to
their
retract
name
it?
is retracted. That's their like code name. I think this
That's what I mean.
Yevgeny is probably who would.
No, listen, it is
Change their
100%
name.
Yevgeny. I went over there.
Oh, you look.
I went
you
over
did?
there.
Okay.
And it was Yevgeny. And when I went over there, I ran to the bathroom and I was coming back and I saw Yevgeny. And Daniel was at the other table. Is Daniel still on? No. Yes. I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. Daniel was at the table next to him. And he comes over and he said something to Yevgeny like, "Oh, we haven't seen you in forever," or something like that. And he asked him where he was, and Yevgeny was like, he started to kind of try and answer, and Daniel just goes, "Are you doing drugs? You doing drugs?" Just Daniel, he just like goes in with crazy shit, and Yevgeny's like, kind of like, what's happening? He's like, no, I was just in Europe for the past couple summers, and Daniel's like, doing drugs? Are you doing drugs? It was just like so random. But yeah, so it is legit. Yevgeny
Does he look the
Timoshenko.
same? I mean,
yeah,
obviously, probably just older, but
yeah, he looks the same.
Okay.
I mean, I surefire recognized him right away.
Yeah,
and I was immediately thinking, like, we got to get a camera on Yevgeny Timoshenko. Like, where the heck has this guy been? Timotenko, remember that series? Remember when he was taking forever in the tournament? Do you remember that? It was the WSOP main event. They were down to like 3 tables.
Yeah.
And Charlie from the tournament staff comes over because he knew we were doing, it was either the first or the second, the first or second year, we were doing hand for hand of 3 tables because we were the freaking goats, okay? Hand for hand coverage, 3 tables left in the WSOP main event. Goat shit, okay? So
remember that.
We're doing that. And because we were doing that, you could tell which tables were ahead of the others and how fast tables were playing. So it was found out that like the one table, I think he might have been on the main feature, but that table was behind a lot. And it was because of Yevgeny taking forever. And they had to basically go up and be like, dude, you need to speed it up. Like, what are you doing? So, and I remember Charlie, who was, he kept coming over because he was like the head tournament director. And he would keep coming over. He'd be like, Peters, what's the update? And I would just show him the page, the reporting page. And I'd be like, okay, this table's on hand 27. This table's on hand 11, or whatever. He's like, he would write it down on his piece of paper and he would go back. And then he would come back like 20 minutes later, but what's the update? And that kept happening. Yeah. That was the best when we did that. I mean, it was freaking,
I remember it was me.
It was chaos.
We were doing the outer table, so we didn't have stats or graphics. So we had 2 field reporters just running me hands.
Yeah, that's when the jib guy almost hit Mickey.
That probably happened every summer.
It might be our jib guy for all we know.
The same one. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Rich Ryan was doing it. Producer Rich, shout out. This was the best. That was the best.
They were great years.
I always thought that because I remember we talked about it. I remember like that day because I was running the team and I was like, guys, do you think we can pull this off? And everyone was on board. Everyone's like, yeah, we can do it. Like we can get this done. It's really no different than doing hand for hand on a single table. You just need to have enough people that can do it on your team, and you need to all be able to coordinate and like get it all on the blogs and just make sure that it's happening. Those
days though, it was like there was a day where you, me, can't remember, it might have been Rich, producer Rich, but like I think Pava set us a challenge to do like X number of pages in a blog, and we just did it. Like we wanted to challenge ourselves back then. And when you bring up, hey, let's try hand for hand, 3 tables out, I was like, oh yeah, let's try it. But it was more like we wanted to do it and make sure we like achieved it.
Yeah, and we did it. And I think we did it for 2 years.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. But I always thought, my idea was like, okay, we're going to do this. And I remember the next year came up, like, okay, we're doing it again for sure. And then I just had always thought that like, kind of every year you would like add a table, essentially. You would do 4 tables, then you would do 5 tables. And eventually you get to like, you're freaking hand for handing like 30 tables. And it's like day 6 of the main, right? But like that's how I thought like the evolution of live reporting would kind of go.
Yeah.
And a lot of it also was over like, as I'm running the team at Poker News, like all these different people come up to you. They're like, oh, I have this app, or I have this product, or I have this tablet, or this system, or whatever to that solved live reporting, and they all sucked. Nothing worked. Okay, like honestly, we would always revert to pad and paper and put writing on our computer. Or if you had one of those like electric notepads, like that was good too. I know. Again, producer Rich always ahead of the curve. He had one of those. But yeah, so I always just thought that that's how it would advance or progress, right? And It didn't, but that's fine, whatever. But I just always thought that, we'd get to like now and then we could look back and we'd be like, remember when we started doing that? And look how crazy it is now when they're hand for hand in 45 tables in the main event. There's 6,000 reporters here running around.
I mean, it's kind of like that at Tryon, right? In a way.
Yeah,
it's kind of evolved to that.
And they did develop in-app.
Yeah.
Or their platform or whatever it is. I haven't personally worked with it, but they have like, it's essentially an extra dealer standing behind the table, punching in all of the actions.
Yeah.
So they definitely did develop, and it is sick. Now it does involve a lot of extra manpower. Like you got to have an extra dealer or two or whatever it is for every single table. So that's, much like we talk about in the studio, things are just more controlled. There's fewer tables. You can do certain things. Whereas, WSOP main event, day 1D, when there's 400 tables in play, like you can't do it then.
Yeah.
Unless you want to hire 400 or 500 people. But
sure,
good luck with that. That's just ridiculous. Anyway, I have no idea where we are, but we're here. So, all right, let's go, John Schulman. Did you already talk about first place in this event?
Yes, we did.
So if the PLO 8 gets 386 entries, what is the 10K PLO going to get?
655.
What did it get last year?
Let me pull it up.
And who won it last year? That wasn't Lou Garza. Was he the year before?
Yeah, I've got it right here. So,
well, you can also look up the 08 or the.
I'm going to look up that first.
The PLO 8.
The bigger? No, the bigger?
Tell me what the number is.
Let me find the event. I lost it.
How do you lose it? Just type in high, low, 8 or better. Or whatever.
259 last year.
What?
Won by Sean Troha. So quite a big.
That's
uptick.
Insanely bigger.
Yeah.
It's 386 this year.
Yeah.
Oh my
and
God.
then the 10,000.
The 250K might have 110 entries, by the way. I have no idea what's going to happen.
The 10,000 version.
Is this the time of the summer when we say the main event's going to have 11,000?
Probably. This 10K PLO had 1 billion people. 811. That was won by Eli Nakashi.
Yeah, so that one's going to have
something around that, yeah.
811, it might have 1,000.
We see a bit of a down. We saw a bit of a down in the half and half. We thought that might be higher because a lot of the Euros weren't here for the PLO.
We did think that the 25K half and half, the new event, would just be higher than what it was. Yeah,
so
we both thought that.
I'm wondering, like I was out there today. I didn't see the Yonis and the Elias. Now I know they don't play.
No, every time I see Yoni's Instagram, he's on some golf course somewhere.
Yeah. He's got the best life. So will they be here in time for the 10K, or are they waiting for the bigger stuff, the 50, the 25, the 100? Maybe they don't get out of bed for a 10K anymore. We're not really sure with these guys.
They're the Finnish Jason Koons.
Yeah, so we'll see with that one. But yeah, massive increase in massive.
Shout out massive.
The PLO 8 championship.
Shout out massive. All right, Thomas Boyven over in the 100K High Roller. This is another one of those events that bags at 6 p.m. or something crazy so everyone can get home for dinner. But he busted Jesse Lonis, I believe, on the last hand of play to take the chip lead. So Thomas Boyven has 3.8 million. I don't even know how to say this name, nor have I ever even seen it in my life.
I already know the name you're talking about.
Emilian Patavi? Who's that?
Been playing he's been in the day 2 coverage for us. I don't think he's made the stream yet, but he's been playing.
Okay.
Frenchman, I think, right?
Yeah. Second in chips, João Vieira, we all know him. Third in chips, Vinny Lingham, who spent plenty of time on high stakes poker, is in fourth. Brandon Steven, also on high stakes poker. This is the high stakes poker tournament. Ninth place, Chris Hunican. This is more Big Huni. This is Big Huni.
He's found his event. He must have misclicked registered the limit hold'em.
I really like seeing this name in sixth place. It makes me feel kind of warm and tingly inside.
No. Let me get
Landon Tice.
Wow.
The kid's all grown up. I feel like he's playing 100Ks. He's playing 50Ks, 25K. He's made it. I love it. It warms my heart.
Chasing PGT.
It's like poker's little kid is just growing up before our eyes, and we are sending him off to high school. Or maybe this is sending him off to college. I don't know. Whatever it is, he's growing up before our eyes, and it's just simply incredible. Isaac Haxton has a stack. Nacho Barbero, I'm sure that's an absolute party. Jeremy Osmus, come on, Jeremy, let's go, buddy. Come on. funny thing, I got my hair cut today, as you know, and the woman who cuts my hair, who is best friends with my wife, this is a long thing. Her brother's kids are friends with Jeremy's kids.
Okay.
So she knows Jeremy, like through this connection. But she was asking me today. She's like, "Oh, I haven't seen Jeremy's name anywhere." Yeah, because he hasn't done shit.
Because he sucks.
Okay, he hasn't done anything. And I know because we spent $141 on him in 25K fantasy, and he hasn't done much. So let's go. Now, that said, I'm not worried about it yet. Jeremy's going to do plenty of stuff this summer. It's still early, okay? This event is number 38. Remember, there are 100 gold bracelet events, okay? I think Jeremy is in for some big stuff still this year. D-Negs also bagged chips in this tournament. Seth Davies also on our team.
Oh, here we go.
He also bagged chips. So let's go. And then I'm guessing this one will have, I don't know, a dozen or 2 dozen max late reg and all that sort of stuff. So cool. $1,500 monster stack. How many did this thing get?
All right, so far 1,873 entrants.
Statman's on
476 are through today too. Biggest notable I saw was Pokerface Ash. She's a vlogger. She's up there in the top 20. Cherish Andrews 33rd in chips. Andrew Ostapachenko, fresh off his runner-up finish, 41st in chips.
Andrew Ostapachenko, crushing, breaking out.
Crushing. Now, 1,800 players. Last year, 2,300 players.
Yeah, but they have the extra flight.
We got an extra flight, and there's been some big one-dayers over at Aria, over at our friends, Paul Campbell, Ryan Kirk over there crushing some big one-day 1Ks and stuff, mystery bounties here and there. So, knowing that there's 4 flights with the monster stack, you probably expect a few of those guys to dabble in some of those one-dayers in these early days. So, last year, monster stack had a total of 8,700 players.
You know who might be over in some of those one days?
Steven Song.
Jeremy Becker, because he bagged.
In the monster stack?
Yeah.
He was here on the rail for a while.
I feel like he's the type of player who will bag 1A and then go play like a couple Aria one days or something.
100%.
Like in between.
Yeah, he was sweating Nick Schulman. Is Nick on their fantasy team?
No, I'm pretty sure Nick is on Team Splash Sports, who had a freaking day because they have, it's Nick is on their team. Nick and Jason Koon are on this team.
Wow. Are they on top?
No, they're not on top.
But anyway,
they're in second.
That's the monster stack numbers. Obviously, right now trending to be lower than last year, but we know that's not gonna. Ain't gonna.
I mean,
hold.
listen. Yes, but also, at least I thought Colossus was gonna get up to last year, and then it fell pretty short. So
the money. No, that extra $100
no, it's the structure. It's
that the structure too. Yes,
it's not the money; it's the structure.
It does.
Well, so I would be curious: is this structure the same, and they simply just added a day?
Well, for the monster stack,
yeah, for the monster stack.
Well, what I found out today, and I think this is not very smart, but a colleague of ours, Jason, the guy that we, get all our snacks from, he was playing the monster stack today.
Wow.
Now he was going to max late.
No wonder the snacks have sucked.
He was going to max late with 20 bigs, and we were looking at the app together. He only had to play 1 level before they bagged.
Huh?
Yeah. Now we were like, is the app wrong? Is the structure sheet wrong? But like, we thought that was a little weird. Oh shit, let's see if he bagged. So that seems very odd to me that you would play that long. That you'd have such a late registration and then only play 1 hour after that. Looks like he bagged 26K, 8 big blinds. So he's through to day 2. Nice little hour of work there to make day 2. But that seemed to me to be weird.
I'm looking at the structure sheets for last year and this year. It looks the same.
Okay.
50,000 starting stack, 60-minute levels. You start at 100, 200, 200. Everything looks the same.
Late registration, same.
Let me look at that. Where does it say that? Late registration, 10 levels, 10 levels. Yep.
How long do you play on day 1?
Same. 11 levels.
So weird, right?
Both. Yeah. I mean, everything seems the exact same in this one. Yeah, both, they did the thing where it's Wait. Oh. Anyway, they did the thing where you can re-enter the next flight, so freeze out per flight.
Okay.
That's what they do in the Monster Stack.
Yeah,
and everyone always asks Kevin Math 8,000 times on social media if you can re-enter in the Monster Stack. So this one does look identical structures. Forgive me if I am wrong, but yet looking at it, it does look the same. So I would say that because it's the same and they added another flight, I think they'll at least meet last year, if not top it. I also think that they got a nice starting window, not running this in the middle of the week, kicking it off on Thursday. So I think this one's going to be quite big. And people love this tournament. I always wanted to play it. I've never been able to because it
Never
takes
played it once.
It takes like 7 days.
Okay.
If you go deep. Not that I'm ever going to go deep, but I like to, in my head have a little fantasy, future projection that I'm going to go deep, but that's never going to happen. The $1,500 H.O.R.S.E.
I got the update for you.
Giddy up, baby.
On a day 2, 195 players. Yep, you've already seen it.
Yeah, that's my boy. Nico, baby.
867 entrants. They're about 60 from the money. Third in chips, as you saw by this guy celebrating Nico Milgram. Is he the best? He might be.
I mean, he's the greatest. The guy is awesome.
Another notable up there. Greg Mueller, 8 in chips. Andrew Kelso, Ryan Lang.
Josh Reichard. What, that guy plays H.O.R.S.E?
Yeah, he plays H.O.R.S E. I've seen him play H.O.R.S E.
Oh my gosh.
Calvin Anderson.
I did get yelled at the other day for saying that Josh Reichard plays PLO. Like I questioned it and I got yelled at.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that doesn't mean they play it well.
No, that is true. 197K there for first. 867. Let's have a quick look to see.
How freaking good is Nico, man? This guy is the best.
So here we go. This is interesting. 867. Only a small increase over last year. 32 entrants more, but that's fine. That's fine. That was won by Phil Hui, by the way, for
Crusher.
193K in 2024.
I think they're bagging up over in that PLO 8.
Yeah.
Do they have the chip guns in yet?
Probably not.
We got to know how Johnny Schulman did.
And then what else are we missing today?
Johnny Schulman, just the best.
That's it.
I mean, the hit rate that we have for sub $5 players in this.
You should only drop sub $5.
I should really just have sub $5 players.
Yeah.
It's just simply incredible. It really is. It's absolutely incredible.
You want to talk about tomorrow's events?
Yeah. What do we got?
So we got the Sweet Lou special, the Limit Hold'em Championship. He came and got a lucky.
Wait, hold on. Why is that? That's Lou. Sorry, I was really confused. I was like, wait, Lou Garza's playing Limit Hold'em now? What the hell's going on?
The other Sweet Lou, he came and got a hat from us yesterday, I believe, in preparation for the Limit Hold'em Championship, which is playing, which he final tabled, I believe, last year. So that kicks off Limit Hold'em Championship. That's the afternoon event. Now, in the morning, obviously we have the day 1B of the Monster Stack, but we have the $5,000 buy-in seniors high roller. And this was one of the events on the schedule that I kind of marked that let's see how this app does. Are we going to see the seniors just jump in now?
On your new C-Draw's on your phone. I can't see it. I can't get it.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm gonna look at this. Seniors high roller, 9 hours away, right? 10 hours away. They've already got 131 players registered.
Of course. They're all going to meet for fucking pastries and coffee in the fucking hallway at 8:30 a.m. What are you talking about? They're going to have newspapers? Like
I often scroll the app to see how many people are registered. And, like Salute to Warriors, for example, on the
I always think it's 39.
Funny. Only 39.
I go into the app sometime and I'll be like, oh, 100K high roller. Who's registered?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just funny.
Seniors, day 1, 68 already. So these seniors, we might be thinking all this wrong, but they may be on top of everything when it comes to the verification, the WSOP Plus app.
For sure, they're more organized. They're going to get things sorted ahead of time. They're not just going to be your normal poker players and show up day of.
Yeah.
And screw everything up.
Look, we might still have an issue.
How many people are registered for the 10K limit hold'em?
2. Who do we think they are?
Sweet Lou. Is he in there? Is he in there?
Yeah, no, I haven't looked yet. And then
Terrence Chan. Those are my 2 guesses.
I'm going to say Matt Grapenthien.
Okay, so I got Sweet Lou, aka
I like
Hillman,
okay,
and Terrence Chan.
I should take one more then. Give me Oh, no, I got no one. Yeah, we don't know either of these two players. No. Alex, Torrey, Riley, Rosengren.
Okay.
Yep.
We tried.
We tried.
Is there anyone signed up for the 250K? Jason Koon's White Whale?
Let's find it. When is that? That's coming up soon, right?
Yeah, it starts on the 15th.
Here we go. One player. Oh, this is going to be good.
I'll say David Peters. But I'm saying that because I've seen him.
I've seen him register early too.
He was one of the 2 players registered for the 100K.
Was right. I saw that too. I'm going to take the other person that was registered.
Belcher or whatever his name is?
I'm going to take Belcher.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I got it.
Belcher he was registered for everything.
He might have registered. Yeah, he might be that guy. He just registered for everything and can withdraw, right?
Remember when you used to... I heard a story. I have no idea if this is confirmed or not, but back at the Rio, you could register for tournaments and they would give you
the food comps.
The food comp. Didn't Alan Kessler register for all of them and then get the food comps?
And then unregister. Yeah.
And then if you just don't play it, you still get the food comp.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. If that's not true, I'm sorry, but that's what I heard.
No, that's definitely a true
allegedly.
Story.
I'm saying allegedly, Alan. No, okay, he's saying
I'm not
for
saying
sure.
I'm not saying it's Alan, but definitely you could do that and get the food comps. But I'd also heard that Alan did.
Well, I'm going to say that if anyone did do that, is Alan Kessler for sure.
But yeah,
cool.
The Seniors High Roller tomorrow, the Limit Hold'em Championship, day 1B of the month. And most importantly, day 2 of the 100K that we are streaming on PokerGo, kicking off at about 4:30 cards in the air, 7 p.m. stream. That's going to be a good one to watch, I think.
Yeah, so I'm going to be a Venetian for the early part of the day.
Of course you are. Do you ever put in the hours here at the World Series?
I'll tell you this right now. As much as I love doing commentary over at the Venetian, because I do, I really do. You guys know how I am. I don't like to be pulled away from the World Series. I want to be here. I want to be in it. This is the greatest tournament series in the world. I want to be here until they pry me off of this place or off the floor. Like I want to be here. And then when I come in late, I feel like I'm just all out of sorts. I got to figure out what the heck is going on. So yeah. Dewey, the Seniors High Roller. How many did it get last year? That was when Mark Checkwitz run it. He was dressed, I think, wearing a Cookie Monster outfit. Something whack like that.
It was after the other seniors event, so that I think matters.
It's before. Oh yeah, it is before.
Yeah, it had 680 players.
Isn't that weird? Like, why wouldn't you go like seniors, super seniors, seniors high roller? Because then people that cash for good money in the seniors and the super seniors then just throw it into the seniors high roller.
Yeah, obviously that is the smartest way to do it.
Also,
the big difference
shouldn't
is
the seniors high roller be 10K? Didn't they just have a 10K? They just had a 10K seniors high roller at the win.
The win, yeah, but last year it was 5K. I like 5K though. I like the 5K price one. This year seniors championship, I should actually check last year, but it's starting after Father's Day. Previous years it has started kind of on that Father's Day weekend. But yeah, the high roller before is a little odd, but like we've kind of touched on with the additional flights in some of these kind of bigger field events, things have had to be slotted in spots where they're not normally used to. So
true. True.
It is a giant puzzle piece, just like the MLB schedule or any kind of the NFL schedule, anything like that. Same kind of thing. So they're doing their best. But yeah, I think that will affect the numbers definitely. And we'll kind of gauge that tomorrow and then into day 2 when prize pool and all that kind of stuff is set.
I'll tell you what, the worst tournament on the schedule is coming up in a couple days.
Let me look.
It is hands down the worst tournament.
For what reason would you say that?
Come on, man.
I'm trying to get in your head about
if I were to chop one tournament off of the schedule, this wouldn't be my number one pick.
We would have already got rid of it. It was the 1500 limit hold'em.
No, that one is way better than what I'm gonna say.
All right, give me one sec. Coming up. You're not gonna say that because you would get yelled at.
What would I get yelled at about?
If you wanted to chop the salute to Warriors, something about charity.
No, I
feel like you're gonna say the OE for some reason.
The OE. Bro, get this split pot nonsense out of here. I can't handle
That's
it.
That's a classic. It's been around forever.
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah. It should be extinct like the dinosaurs. Get this thing out of here. This is the tournament. Every time I hear people play it, all they do is complain about it the whole time.
That's why it's the best.
It's a
event.
giant pain in the ass to cover. It's hard to follow. It feels like it's never ending. It feels like you're just walking in quicksand the whole time, which is nonstop split pots. No, see ya.
I'm going to tell you the numbers for the OE events the last
I'm
few
sure
months.
it does incredible. But
507 last year, 460 the year before that. They took a couple of years off. 401, 402, 405, 384, 474, 470. This event performs.
Okay, if you were to chop one tournament off the schedule,
Limit
what would it be?
Hold'em. 1,500 limit Hold'em. Get it
You're
out of
RIP
here.
limit Hold'em. All right, I'm RIP the OE tournament. Is that all we got? No, we got. Yeah, that is all we got.
Yeah, we're streaming tomorrow. We're streaming today, Thursday, June 12th, 7 p.m. We're going to pick up day 2 coverage of the 100K. That's the important. Watch it on PokerGo.
How many hats did you give out today?
That's the next thing. I gave out a lot of hats. Gave one guy one of 2 hats because his friend asked him to get one at the same time he was getting. Yeah, I allowed it.
If this happens, okay. I don't know if this is a thing because you're Australian, but like in the school system, when you were like out of school, you had to bring a doctor's note.
Yep.
Yeah. Like if you're claiming a hat for yourself and your buddy, I need a note from the buddy. Like I need a note. It needs to be handwritten, signed. We don't have to go as far as notarizing it, but should have the password on it.
Yeah.
You know, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Now I understand there might be some shenanigans that go on with that. Maybe there's forgery, maybe there's not. But I still want a handwritten note from the friend. Hey, I couldn't make it because I'm sick in bed. This is why. Signed, Jim Smith from Iowa.
Yep.
Family.
I think that's fine.
Hand notes, people, or we ain't giving out multiple hats.
Gave out a lot of hats today.
I gave out one to, I believe his name was Sam.
Gave out.
I probably messed that up.
Gave out
sorry,
last year's hats because a couple of people didn't get it, and we still have some of those. So if you miss out on this year's hat and you didn't get last year's, we still have that. We have some of those. Gave out a few. I would say we have 46 left. I don't know. I'm completely guessing, but
okay.
You know, I just had a DM from a poker player, Ray Henson, was like, "Hey, can I get a hat? Password is this." Said, "All right, well, you have to come tell me where you're sitting. I can't just bring it to Houston or something."
Use the app.
You know, I don't know what he's playing. I haven't seen him in a few days. So yeah, we do have still some. Come get them. You know,
Justin Zaki get his hat?
No, I haven't seen him actually. He's been busting tournaments early because he left his goddamn lucky hat on the ground.
True.
One guy actually was wearing the first year's hat, right? The OG hat. And he said, as he tracked me down, I'm walking back to our area to give him the hat. Some other guy comes running down the hall. He's like, family pot, can I get one too? I was like, yeah, no, I got you. I get it for him. And they were saying, yeah, lucky hat. I just got into town. I'm playing tomorrow. The guy that was wearing the old one goes, well, the trick is you have to rub the logo, you know, before you tell the guy. So
before you go all in.
Yeah. He believes it. I'm going to try that next time I play and I wear that hat. But yeah, we've given at least half the hats, maybe a few more. So if you are in town and you want one, please come by. We are not playing any favorites. No favoritism. You have to come here and get it. Say the magic words family pot.
You gave one to Zach Gilbert.
Yes, I did. Gave one to him. Yep.
He told me he met you when I was over at Venetian. So
yeah, so we probably need a family pot story soon too. Don't really have it. You know what? I've got it's my son's birthday this weekend. Turns 9. We've gone to those. What's it? The jumping castle, the explode zone, the explode sky zone. We got the trampolines in the ground.
Okay.
We've been there the last 4 years. Doesn't want to change his birthday party venue. And
okay.
What it means is, after leaving here at 3 a.m., I have to go, sleep 4 hours, wake up, drive him to this thing, and I'm obviously going to jump around. So I'm tired. I'm going to get sweaty, may throw out my back or pull a hamstring, jumping, chasing kids, and then come here for 15, 16 hours to work with you. So I'm sure something's going to develop from that day. And maybe that's our first family pot.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'll try and drum one up myself. But for that, we're out of here for this episode. His name is Tim Duckworth. My name is Donnie.
We didn't mention the poker peak cards.
Oh my god. Okay, hold on. Rewind. Okay, go ahead.
We talked about the poker peak cards. I ordered some.
Oh my god.
Right? If you guys can see them here, right?
I can't believe these are actually real things.
You got the here, you take those on. It's got the peaks on all 4 sides. So you don't look at it like that. You peek it. That's the whole point. No. You got it wrong.
What do you mean? I'm peeking the corner.
No, you don't look at them like normal cards. You look at them Like you put them like this, and then you just like look at the bottom. All you gotta do is
That's
peek.
what I was doing. Look, I'm peeking.
Yeah, but you can do it from any side. That's the beauty.
I'm literally
of them.
peeling up the
See?
corner.
That's the beauty of them. You know, you got every side you can look at them. These are the poker peaks.
We are for sure going to get a message in the morning from producer Rich being like, what the hell was the last 15 minutes of this podcast?
And I brought this too. So put some batteries. You guys aren't going to see this time. Maybe I'll take a picture. Milwaukee Best Light.
There's a reason these cards did not survive. I mean, look at these things. They're hideous. I mean, they don't even make any sense.
If you guys are listening, this is the time to tune in to the YouTube version. But for you guys watching, Milwaukee Best Light, this is a mini. I'm going to try and describe this. It's a mini beer can, about 1.5 inches tall, but it's a torch. Push the little button here. Okay, you can't really see this, but maybe I'll do it on the hat. So what the torch is, it's the WSOP logo, and it says 2007 WSOP main event. So this is what we got when we played the main event. I played the main event that year. You can kind of see. See, look. It's
Ridiculous.
pretty cool.
Okay, let's
Right?
get out of here.
But
I can't
it's going to
take
sit
this
here
anymore.
with Daniel, Bubblehead Daniel, with our PokerGo podcast hat, with our time extension, with our It's Overnight, and our Poker Peak cards. The set is slowly building. It's going to be a ginormous set come July 16th.
A ginormous set, he says, come
Yeah.
July
We
16th.
got the besties thing. We got a plant now. You know?
What'd you do with all the aces?
Huh?
What'd you do with all the... Oh, they're over there. All right. That's Tim Duckworth. I am Donnie Peters. We will talk to you guys next time.